Project Winter is a survival game where you and up to 7 other players are stranded in the frozen tundra trying to call for rescue before a blizzard strikes that would mean certain death. It all seems pretty straightforward, but there are traitors among the group that want to see you fail. Can Project Winter compete with other popular social deduction games such as Among Us? Let's find out. First, let's do an overview of the game. Project Winter features 2 different game modes, Basic, which is intended for new players or for a group that wants a faster round, and Normal. Both function similarly in the player's end goals, but the Normal mode has more objectives, events, buildings, and craftable items, as well as a larger map. When you start a round, all of the player's fully customizable characters will begin in a central cabin, where you will be given a role, either a survivor or a traitor. If you're a survivor, you can take a sigh of relief because you won't have to lie during the round, and you can focus most of your energy on completing the objectives while also remembering to eat and keep warm. As you move across the map, you will gather resources from nature and from various bunkers that you will use for your own survival and to complete the objectives. You will find your first objective on the map outside of the cabin, and once that is completed, you will be given 3 possible locations for the second objective. It is critical that you are in constant communication with your team members about what needs to be done, and Project Winter offers a couple different ways that you can do this. First, there is proximity-based speaking, meaning that as you talk into your microphone, only those nearby can hear you. There are also orange and purple colored walkie-talkies that you can find, allowing you to talk across the map to someone else holding the same color walkie-talkie as you. And finally, there is the option to type chat messages. After you and your team have coordinated and completed both objectives, you will need to head back to the cabin to use the radio to call in your escape vehicle. And last but not least, board the vehicle and get the heck out of there. All of that in and of itself is difficult enough given the harsh conditions and the dangerous wildlife. But there are also up to 2 traitors in your group. Traitors begin the game with a red walkie-talkie, meaning that they can always be in communication with each other. It should also be noted that when using a walkie-talkie, the players in your proximity can't hear what you're saying into it, allowing for secret conversations to take place. Traitors will do everything they can to blend in with the survivors for as long as they can, all the while sneaking off to open traitor crates, travel through traitor hatches, sabotage objectives, and booby-trap items. To put it simply, the traitor's goal is to not let the survivors escape, by any means necessary, even if that means each and every player dies in the process. If you've ever sat around a table with a group of friends and played a game of Werewolf or Mafia, you'll fit right into Project Winter, which is basically like one of those expanded into a survival game. Sometimes the whole group will meet back at the cabin and realize someone is missing. Are they out sabotaging an objective, or were they murdered by one of the people walking alongside you? This quickly develops into discussions of whose behavior was most suspicious, and then the targeted player has to defend themselves. You can even vote to exile players from the cabin, leaving them to the mercy of the harsh wilderness. The game forces players to find the perfect balance between individual work and teamwork. There's far too many tasks that need to be completed, so the whole group can't move as a single pack. They have to split up, but spreading yourself too thin leads to a lack of trust and makes you more vulnerable to attack. This leads players into a constant state of fear and distrust that the person helping you one moment could be trying to kill you the next. Being on edge for 30 minutes straight while fearing the betrayal of your friends has never been more enjoyable as it is in Project Winter. It combines the core aspects of survival games with the best parts of social deception games, and what it creates is something truly amazing, yet incredibly simple. The proximity-based talking is one of the biggest highlights of the game. It's not revolutionary, but it adds depth to your communication. Whispering to a nearby ally, not knowing who's on the other side of the mountain next to you, adds a level of uncertainty. Hearing screams in the distance as someone is getting murdered and then watching all of the players emerge to see who the attacker is, it adds complexity and it adds to the group socialization. There's also lots of different cosmetics you can buy with in-game credits to customize your character and make your player unique. The artwork is smooth and relaxing, which balances out the stress that comes with so many untimely deaths. Project Winter also does a decent job at increasing the replayability of the game when playing the normal mode by offering a pool of 3 different first objectives and 3 different second objectives. There's also individual player objectives and roles that ensure you'll be able to play the game for hours without having a match that is an exact repeat. Project Winter also features a few ways that you can interact with players even after you've died, allowing you to continue harming them or giving them assistance from the afterlife. In my opinion, Among Us can't even compete with Project Winter. Nearly every aspect of the game I've discussed up to this point is taking a core idea from Among Us and expanding on it. The tasks and objectives in Project Winter aren't just trivial actions intended to make you a sitting duck for a few seconds. They actually have meaning, and they require team discussions on how to solve them in an efficient manner. In addition, the ability to craft items and weapons and then be able to fight back against the traitors is all the more reason that this game is superior, but it does come at a higher price tag. Really, the biggest downside to this game as of right now is the lack of a large player base. Finding a match at certain hours of the day depending on what region you're in may prove a little difficult, and with no option to play single player, it's definitely something to bear in mind, especially if you're planning to purchase it and don't already have friends who already own it. And like any multiplayer game that depends on a small group of serious players in order to flourish, ending up in a lobby with people who don't take the game seriously can ruin a perfectly good match. As always, these games are generally more enjoyable with a group of people you know. My hope is that with more time on the Steam market and future sales bringing in new players, this game will continue to rise through the ranks and get the credit it deserves. But what are your thoughts? Would you rather play Among Us on your phone for free, or Project Winter for $20? Leave a comment down below to let me know, and thanks for sticking with me for another video from Picking Up Steam.